welcome you back to our second full hour tonight on night number 1 of the 2025 NBA Draft. It's SportsGrid's Draft Special. 2 sets, 2 crews, full coverage all night long for all 30 picks that we are going to see in the 2025 NBA Draft. He is the coach, J.Y. James Young. I am Ben Stevens. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio here as well. The hometown team, J.Y., now on the clock with the 8th overall pick. The Brooklyn Nets, who, of course, the draft tonight inside their home arena, the Barclays Center, are slated to pick 5 times on night number 1. Here at 8th overall on the clock, 19th overall, 22nd overall in that 3-team deal that sent Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks, 26th, and then back-to-back at 27th as well. It's safe to say that BK has a lot of draft capital tonight.
Draft needs. They need everything. We'll see what they do with Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton. Those are 2 guys to be on the lookout for who could be moved. But, Jordy Fernandez, who I think is going to be a really good coach in this league, really good at skill developing, they got to start to shed some of these older contracts and give Jordy what he needs to work with. So Brooklyn, with this pick, they could kind of go best available. If they're looking to trade Nick Claxton, do you go with I'll throw it back to Ben because it looks like the pick is in.
The pick is in. The Brooklyn Nets, in front of their home crowd, have officially sent in that selection to Commissioner Adam Silver. At 8th overall, the Brooklyn Nets take out of BYU the Russian guard Yegor Dimon. Dimon goes 8th overall to the Brooklyn Nets. And JY, when you look at what he did in his lone year in Provo, playing for BYU, a facilitator, an apt shooter at times, are you surprised the Nets reached up to grab Yegor Dimon in this spot?
They wanted to, and I mean, I'm going to do something I haven't done yet. I'm going to throw it to Kevin Walsh because Kevin Walsh was not a big fan of this kid, thought he shouldn't be playing at BYU. Kevin, thoughts on this move with Igor going to Brooklyn?
Coach, I owe you a drink. What an atrocious pick. Congratulations, Brooklyn. At least you didn't trade up for the kid. 2 games against Houston this year. Maybe that's a comp for an NBA defense. A nice and shiny 3 of 15 from the field, 9 points and 8 turnovers for Demon in those games against the Cougs. He shot a putrid 27% from 3 this year. Don't worry, it was only down to 23% in Big 12 play. His offensive rating, bad. His defensive rating, worse. This is a kid with an over-under draft position of 13.5. You reached easily, not close, the worst pick we have seen in this draft. And the nice part of it is I don't see anyone touching a pick this bad, even though we're only 8 picks in. F. Brooklyn Nets. Oh, and by the way, they get another crack at it 4 more times. Yikes.
So, a lot of raw talent. Great passer.
Disagree. He stinks.
He's a great passer. He's got good anticipation, good feel for the game. Extremely unrefined skill set outside of that.
Can't shoot.
No,
Can't guard.
So the size is there, continue to grow.
Can't beat anyone off the dribble.
He's not going to play that role. I think they want to play him in some type of just pure facilitator role between the shooting from Cam Thomas and the lob game to Nick Claxton, but I'm not sure how long Nick Claxton is going to be on the Nets.
Maybe their thought was, since all Cam Thomas wants to do is shoot,
we just need someone to pass him the ball.
Igor Demon can do nicely is pass. That's a good backcourt to
just
have.
Pass.
This is a tank pick.
So
they're trying to position for Dybonsa, who should be playing with Demon next season at BYU, Ben.
Definitely not the pick to make.
Listen, could be that Cougs pipeline making its way to Brooklyn, New York. They call Brooklyn the Provo of New York City, so why not? I'm not going to tell anybody how to do their jobs here at the SportsGrid Network, but the clip of Kevin Walsh yelling, "Disagree, he stinks," needs to be circulated and produced rather quickly. Kev, I don't really want to admit this to you, but I did maybe just think that Yegor Dimon would be a lottery pick and include that in a certain best bet earlier today on the SportsGrid Network. So you got it there, JY, from Kev. It's confounding. And it's not just Kevin. The odds makers did not expect Yegor Dimon to be in this spot at 8th overall. So with the first of 5 picks tonight, why does Sean Marks make this move?
Because he probably wanted him and didn't think that he wanted to move picks to get into those mid-teens to get him. I had him in about 14, 15, so he was right around his draft range. Listen, you come off the ball screen, there's many different coverages. Why don't you go under? That is what we call under, which means you go under the screen as a defender and under the roller. Why? Because you can't shoot. So it'll be interesting to see if Jordi Fernandez, and this is a guy, from Spain, so we'll see if this is something where the Nets kind of go with international players, guys that maybe they think they can get a little read on and improve their play. But when you look at the stats and you look at the play, you kind of like, I don't see it. And I think Kevin's right. Now, I'm not going to go on and disagree. I disagree. I mean, I disagree a little bit. But to me, I think it's an interesting reach for Brooklyn. But to me, Brooklyn is going to be judged tonight on the totality of all their picks. They still have 4 more to go. Let's see what Brooklyn does, and then we can evaluate. But right now, after 1 pick, Kevin's blowing in my ear. It's a hard, yes, Kevin, I get it. It's a hard F right now.
19, 22, 26, and 27. The 4 first-round picks that remain for the Brooklyn Nets. Only 20 NBA clubs are even in action drafting on the opening night of the 2025 NBA draft. So, Kev, this one definitely a surprise that Yegor Dimon is drafted 8th overall by the hometown team in Brooklyn, which means there's a couple of bigs still out there on the board. A guy that Tom highlighted earlier in Maryland's Derek Queen, and Kaman Maluach, the 3rd freshman out of Duke. We expected to hear his name called early in tonight's lottery.
Yeah, Kaman Maluach is someone that I, again, am record-breaking high on, but I understood could potentially be on the board here at 9. I think one of the tricky things now for Kaman Maluach is the Raptors have also been heavily linked to Noah Essenge, who comes over from the German league, a French player who actually passed on playing in the final. And I would think that is because he kind of has an idea of how long he will be waiting to hear his name called. It is an interesting spot where if this is Maluach, Essenge could fall out of the top 10. If it's Noah, I would imagine Maluach is a run-to-the-podium pick for the Phoenix Suns at 10.
It has to be, because they've been talking about, they were linked to essentially Rudy Gobert in the trade market about getting him in there. So they do, and they've been talking about getting a center for a while. So I think Maluach going to the Suns would make sense if he's available there. So,
yeah, I mean, I think, let me put it to you like this. The Suns get Maluach, I'm about to reevaluate how I graded the Kevin Durant trade, quite frankly. That's how high I am on the player. But to your point, and just quickly, the Derek Queen to 7 move, I don't know who's responsible for that, Ben. Again, I think we all want to say positive things about the player, but swing and a miss, Derek Queen. Now, I would say live odds certainly would not suggest he's going to end up picked here at 9.
No, not at 9. And that's why the draft market is crazy and it's constantly changing.
Absolutely.
Derek Queen, Kev, was that short favorite to go 7th overall. Obviously not any longer. Jeremiah Fears goes to New Orleans. And it was Noah Essenge, the international, for the international franchise that closed as a short favorite to be that 9th overall pick to Toronto. Will that happen? Find out next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
SportsGrid's draft special rolls on all night for the entirety of round number 1 at the 2025 NBA Draft. Ninth overall, the Toronto Raptors on the clock, and we expected the Canadian franchise of the National Basketball Association to maybe go international. Noah Essengay, the French national, closed as the favorite to be that 9th overall pick. Well, guess what? Think again. A surprise from the odds perspective. The pick is in. 9th overall. The Toronto Raptors take the freshman from South Carolina, Colin Murray Boyles, a guy, JY, that had a very successful first and only year in Columbia, South Carolina. You see the numbers there, average better than 16 points per game and 8 boards. The first Gamecock to put up those numbers since 1983-84, nearly 4 decades ago. But we didn't think he was going to go up to the 6 to Toronto. So what do the Raptors get with Colin Murray Boyles?
A burly tweener, a bull in a china shop, a bowling ball, whatever you can. I mean, people want to say maybe a Draymond Green type. I want to go old school because, I'm a little bit older than everyone else on this set tonight, or the other set as well. How about Anthony Mason? Guy that was burly. Okay, well, I don't know about Tom Vecchio. I mean, Tom Vecchio, you may not know who he is, but we'll get to that in a second. But obviously, the way that he can back you down, post you up, strong defender, tough, brings a little bit of toughness. So is this a little bit of protection for someone like a Scotty Barnes, right? But now it's Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and is there another move coming again for a team like Toronto? I mean, listen, Jakob Poeltl, they could trade him for a bag of basketballs for all I care. Here, I don't want to tell you how many times he ruined my plays with double-doubles that he did not get. But to me, this guy is a bowling ball type of player, should fit in well, a protector, a bruiser, and a good pick. I had him probably about 12 on my draft board. So to me, a little reach, but not a big one like Igor Demon.
So, Kev, we have seen a couple of surprises following the top 4. That went pretty chalk from the odds perspective. What was the odds profile on the SEC all-freshman selection from South Carolina?
We saw a draft position for Murray Boyles of 12.5, a dropping number from around that 13.5 range. But going 9th was really not expected. Again, Noah Essengay and Kaman Malawach, Tom, were both far more supposed to be, and both of them were on the board, but were supposed to be the options Toronto was picking between.
And it really comes down to what they want in terms of the team dynamic. Like, just the pure upside of Malawach, you would think regardless of you got to take a shot on a player like that. And I think that was the pick he should have been at 9, considering how the first 8 picks, I should say, transpired. But, man, I think it's a good pick to get. But I just don't know why Molly Walsh was passed on at a certain point. And I would say the Phoenix Suns should be taking him here.
Well, the Phoenix Suns are doing some other things, BSS. I don't know if you are you blocked? Can you bring that up? I never know with you, pal. What's your relationship with
Only that
Shams?
former guy who doesn't have the want or will anymore, so now he's in a front office of an A-10 basketball program. I have always rode with my guy, Shams Charania, formerly of the FanDuel TV network, now, of course, working for ESPN. And Kev, as to that breaking news that Shams Charania just shared out, the Charlotte Hornets are trading center Mark Williams, who, after the Luka Doncic deal earlier in the season, was maybe going to go to the LA Lakers, but a bad physical said otherwise. Mark Williams is being traded by the Hornets, JY, to the Phoenix Suns for the Suns' second selection tonight in the opening round, that number 29 overall pick, and a 2029 first rounder going back to Charlotte. So again, trade details. The Hornets are sending Mark Williams, the big man, to the Suns, who desperately needed some post presence. In return, Phoenix sending back tonight's 29th overall pick and a 2029 first rounder. Big breaking news. What are your immediate reactions to this trade?
Well, Kamal Molywatch is not going 10. I think we can put that one to bed right now, Ben. So now it gets down to where do you go, right?
All right, now we're getting a couple of crazy upsets here because the Phoenix Suns just traded and acquired a center in Mark Williams for a first-round pick tonight at number 29 overall. And the Phoenix Suns, who were actually not the team drafting here, Houston was making the call, but then calling it into the league office for Phoenix because of the Kevin Durant deal earlier over the weekend. The Suns are going to end up, JY, with the pick now officially in at 10th overall with the Duke big man, Kamal Molywatch. After the Kevin Durant deal, where Phoenix acquired Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, and tonight's 10th overall pick, the Suns were pretty loaded at the shooting guard spot. Now, after moments of trading before for Mark Williams and drafting Kamal Molywatch, they seem pretty loaded in the front court as well. You're trying to figure it out. Does it make any sense?
No, absolutely not. I have no idea what Phoenix just did. I was literally saying you just got Mark Williams, so you don't want Kamal Molywatch, and you went and got Kamal Molywatch. So is there another trade going? I would have thought that you could play Derek Queen at the 4, slide him next to Ryan Dunn. You could have went Ryan Dunn, Derek Queen, and then obviously Mark Williams, 3, 4, 5. And I would have been like, that's a decent front court. I could have rocked with that. So I don't know what Phoenix is doing. You wonder, guys, and I'll throw it back to you, Ben, did they make this trade, make this selection, getting Mark Williams and then select Molywatch? Because maybe they're moving Molywatch somewhere else that wanted to come up and get him.
So quickly, Kevin, Tom, we're scratching our heads here. What do you guys think about what the Suns just pulled off in the last 3 minutes?
Yeah, I got to tell you, if I didn't think Kamal Molywatch was worthy of the second pick in this draft, I'd probably be slandering them. The thing is, I was going to slander them because why would you trade for Mark Williams when you have Nick Richards and you can just draft Molywatch? Instead, they drafted Molywatch. So now, apparently, new strategy, all 2 guards and centers, the Phoenix Suns plan.
What's the Danny DeVito Schwarzenegger movie? The Twins. They're just going big and little. They got nowhere in between. They're just going all guards and bigs. I love it.
Devin Booker, Danny DeVito, and come on, watch Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are you not entertained, BSS?
Everybody's favorite flick. Who doesn't remember that classic? More on SportsGrid Draft Special.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid's draft special for the entirety of the opening round and the opening night of the 2025 NBA draft. He is the coach, J.Y. James Young. I am Ben Stevens. And, of course, during the commercial break, Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio streaming their favorite movie, Twins, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, California's former governor, and Danny DeVito, based on what the Phoenix Suns have done in the last 5 minutes or so. Again, a recap if you have not been with us here literally just in the last 5 minutes. The Suns traded with the Charlotte Hornets to acquire big man Mark Williams. Phoenix sending pick number 29 tonight, the second to last in this opening round, back to Charlotte in a 2029 first rounder. Cool, the Suns got their big man. All good. And then moments later, they drafted, Maluach, the center out of Duke, with that 10th overall selection. JY, quickly, before we get to what Portland has done here with the 11th overall selection, we've had a couple of minutes to digest this decision by Matt Ishbia, his new GM, Brian Gregory there in the Valley. Is it making any more sense?
I feel like I have acid reflux. I'm going to throw up what I'm trying to digest because it makes no sense. I mean, I literally was like, oh, yeah, okay, Mark Williams, you got your center. And then you go draft another center. And then you have Nick Richards. So I don't know what Phoenix is doing, but this is the state of this team. This guy, Matt Ishbia, kind of is like the younger version of James Dolan. He just does dumb stuff all the time and just doubles down and does more and more and more. So I don't know what they're doing. I can't figure it out. Listen, this draft, this is Ace Bailey's fault. Once Ace Bailey did this at 5 and he went to Utah, everything has been completely off the rails since then.
It has got a little bit wacky, and now we have more news to bring you. 11th overall, the Portland Trailblazers on the clock, and the pick now officially in. With the 11th overall selection, the Blazers draft Cedric Coward out of Washington State, and then are sending that pick to the Grind City. Cedric Coward will now play for the Memphis Grizzlies. Kevin Tom, Cedric Coward, a guy that many had rising up draft boards in the last few weeks throughout this draft process. Only played a few games last year in Pullman. Really, he's the pride of Eastern Washington. Stand up, EWU. So, Kev, from the odds perspective and the decision with Coward being dealt from the Blazers to the Grizzlies, what do you make of the move?
Yeah, Cedric Coward, I personally found to be a really tough evaluation because of the lack of sample size. I will say the Memphis Grizzlies being the team to trade up for him makes me think, okay, this is a player to be excited about, Tom. Odds-wise, I I think maybe occasionally we saw would he, won't he lottery selections. And what's funny is if potentially Memphis was his biggest fan, that would have meant he was going to go 16. The trade up, though, Tom, puts him at 11. It does mean, though, we have now got some straight up overs cashing officially on Kasparis Yakachonis of Illinois, Derek Queen of Maryland, and Carter Bryant of Arizona.
Yeah, things are changing rapidly. When it comes to Coward, I mean, just the 1 year at the D1 level, obviously, but shot 40% from deep. And they did just trade Desmond Bane. So do they need the three-point shooting? Is that, I'm just saying from a team perspective, is that the rather, hey, we traded a guy, he was making a ton of money, we bring someone in that can shoot, that's the role he's going to fill. Now, him being a good size out on the wing, I think is an interesting piece to that Memphis puzzle, but you're bringing another shooter that's at least proven somewhat at D1 level. How the rest of the draft shakes out from here, I think, is going to be a lot of chaos.
Yeah, it's a player who clearly had talent but played so little, Ben, of the season for Washington State. And it was against, how the early portion of a CBB season is. You're playing teams that you're laying 20, 30 points to. But, man, he looked really, really good in those games, Ben.
Yeah, he certainly did, Kev. Again, not long for the 2024-25 season for those Cougs. He only played in 6 games, JY, in his lone year at Wazoo. Ironically, his 6th and final against his former team in Eastern Washington, and he dropped 22 on EWU in his final game with the Cougars. So let's get you caught up on what this deal is. The Blazers picking Cedric Coward, sending him to Memphis. In return, the Grizzlies will send back the 16th overall pick, which is where Memphis was originally slated to draft in just a little bit. And on top of that, a 2028 first-rounder via the Orlando Magic and 2 second-round picks to Portland for Cedric Coward. A lot of investment out of the Memphis Grizzlies here in drafting Coward and making sure he finds his new home in the Grind City. We're trying to get our feet under us here in a draft that, after pick number 4, has been a tizzy. We'll continue to do it up next on SportsGrid.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid's Draft Special as we are now getting to the later portion of the NBA Draft Lottery. Of course, the first 14 picks of our 30 tonight in night number 1, round number 1 from the 2025 NBA Draft. And at the 12th overall pick, as we hit the break, the Chicago Bulls were now on the clock, and now that pick is officially in. The Bulls select from France, who plays his pro ball in Germany, Noah Essengay, with the 12th overall selection tonight in the 2025 NBA Draft. JY, we have talked about the draft odds profile around Essengay. Apparently, the Raptors were infatuated with him in the pre-draft process, but they went other areas. Colin Murray-Boyles was their pick at 9th overall. From the prospect that we haven't seen play collegiately, in fact, plays professionally in Germany, what is he now going to bring to the NBA?
Year. Give him another year that he could develop. When you look at Noah, about 6'9", 194 pounds, got to put on some weight, which you have to do a lot of times with Europeans. But position versatility, long, bouncy, athletic, has a long wingspan. So can he translate with his young team, with the Bulls, with Giddey, with Bazelis? Maybe that Bazelis, Essengay, front court could be something you can watch for in the future. But to me, this is more of a guy that I think that is going to wait and try and develop. Wouldn't be shocked if they let him stay overseas for another year.
Absolutely so. So 12th overall, the Chicago Bulls do select Noah Essengay. The Atlanta Hawks are trading the number 13 pick in the NBA Draft to the New Orleans Pelicans for the number 23 pick in an unprotected 2026 first-round selection. That is the report from ESPN's Shams Charania. And as the pick in, or are you just guessing that's who? All right, so the Pelicans with their second pick of the night. They were one of 5 teams in total, including the Nets, who had 5 total picks to have multiple first-round selections. The Pels move up from 23, swapping with the Hawks for that 13th overall pick. You think it is Maryland's Derek Queen here in this spot for the Pels? How come?
You look at their team already set up right now with the backcourt, with the draft pick, and then obviously having Jordan Poole. Then the frontcourt you have Trey Murphy III, a player that I love, and Zion Williamson. The pivot is where the spot is you're looking at. Derek Queen is 6'10". Can he be a smaller 5? Yes, because he's about 250 pounds. And he has the ability to stretch the floor out. Now you can roll Zion inside into the post and give him more driving lane. So to me, because of Derek Queen's shooting ability, Ben, I think this is actually a good pickup for them to do that. Maybe they saw him slide, and now they tried to jump up and get him.
So, Kev, Tom, Noah Essengay goes 12th overall to the Windy City for the Chicago Bulls. And now the Atlanta Hawks swap that 13th overall pick with the Pelicans, who move up from number 23. What do you think New Orleans is looking to do here at the end of the lottery?
Well, I don't want to cheat at all. I would just say we know New Orleans was heavily linked to Derek Queen via the odds at 7th overall. So maybe, Ben, there was at least some logic and reasoning to how the market was starting to back a Queen-Pelican connection, I think possibly, Ben.
Absolutely so. I do not know as of this moment, Kev, if that pick is officially in, but I believe the way that you are talking there, that maybe Derek Queen is on his way to the Big Easy. Do you have eyes on anything here, JY? Kev, you know what? I'm just going to make the executive decision. I'll throw it back to you. You and Tom continue this conversation around what the Pelicans are trying to do here at number 13 overall.
I'll say this, Tom. I think Atlanta trading back I think it shows how confident they are in the Kristaps deal they made yesterday, where otherwise I think the Hawks potentially drafting Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown, for example, could have been what we saw. I think that is a team in the Atlanta Hawks who really believes their starting 5 is set. Trey, Dyson Daniels, Reece Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps Porzingis. And there are some pieces on the bench that they think they like Onyeka Okongwu as well.
Yeah, and it really comes down to, does Porzingis have, because obviously, does he want to play the 5? Like, the hesitancy to play the 5 at times, which has to be noted. So it appears that Queen is going to the Pelicans. That's why pre-show I was very confident that Queen was going to go top 10 to number 7, where he was the favorite to be selected by the Pelicans at 7. I think he's a great fit for the Pelicans. That's why I liked him there initially, and he's obviously – so that bet didn't come through, but I like what they're doing. Again, I think the Hawks, that is an interesting option. With the Porzingis move, is there something else coming down? It's like, hey, the East, they can make a better than play-in type of run this season. That's where they've been stuck. They've been stuck at the 8, 9, 10 for some years. I think they can make that jump into the 6, 7 seed.
And I would say for Atlanta, there are some who wonder, will this team look to continue to be aggressive in the market?
Yes.
And if you were going to try and trade the 13th pick this year, right, you're sped up and trying to get a deal done.
True.
Now, bringing in another first-rounder, which is – either going to be a New Orleans or Buck pick in next year, that could very well be a sought-after selection in this offseason. I think Atlanta, with this move, might also be telling us, Tom, they want to make another swing for a win-now player this summer.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, we have to dig into the contracts to see who's available. And then, I don't want to say that this is just a rest stop for Porzingis. But if you can make the money work, obviously there are big name players that they could go and get and or position themselves for next free agency if they are able to move Porzingis at some point during the season.
Yeah, BSS again. I think Atlanta trusting their group. New Orleans looking to start a youth movement.
Absolutely so, Kev. As you guys were just alluding to, the Hawks now will pick 23rd tonight, and at 13th overall, the Pelicans trading up. The pick now officially in. It is the Big Ten Freshman of the Year from College Park, Maryland. The Baltimore native, Derek Queen, will now play his professional basketball for the Pelicans in the Big Easy. JY, it's fair to say that many people here in either of our two sets tonight on SportsGrid's draft special very high on the talent that Queen possesses and how it translates to the next level in the association. As a reminder for people, how good is Derek Queen expected to be now in the NBA?
Look at a comparison, maybe skill-wise, I'm going to say like a Domantas Sabonis. If you think about Domantas isn't a huge center. He's only about 6'10", but he has the ability to play inside out, rugged rebounder, very adept passer. So I think this makes sense for them. What you do now is when you have someone like Derek Queen you can bring out to the three-point line, that opens up driving lanes for Zion. Also allows you to post up Zion, which I think you will do when you have that offense that you can run 4-on-1 with Zion inside, Queen outside, with Trey Murphy the third, and obviously the other first-round draft pick, and Jordan Poole. So it makes sense. As regards to Atlanta guys, really quick, yes, it's Capella, it's a Okongwu. Someone else is getting moved. So they have some bigs that they can turn on and move. So look at guys like Okongwu, Capella. You can talk about Mitchell Robinson. If he gets extended with the Knicks, there's going to be a big man market that's going to move, whether it's tonight or right before free agency.
The Pelicans front office very active already this week, of course, trading C.J. McCollum to the nation's capital. In return, they get back Jordan Poole. And on this night, 2 lottery selections in round number 1. 7th overall, Jeremiah Fears, who slipped ever so slightly. And then Derek Queen, who was favored entering the draft to go 7th overall. The Pels trade back up into the later portion of the lottery to take Queen at 13th overall. So we have one more pick remaining in the NBA draft lottery and still 16 more to come after that here on night number 1, round number 1 of the 2025 NBA draft. And would you look at who it is? It's the San Antonio Spurs. 5 NBA franchises tonight with multiple picks in the opening round. The Pelicans and now San Antonio, the only 2 with multiple picks in the lottery. Of course, 2nd overall, San Antonio selecting Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. What does this young, exciting, and talented Spurs team look to do with the final pick of the lottery at the number 14 spot on the board? We'll tell you up next here on SportsGrid's Draft Special.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll fall off. He'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to SportsGrid's Draft Special, live right here for the entirety of the opening round of the 2025 NBA Draft. And this opening round will continue until pick number 30. But, JY, right now, we are at pick number 14, obviously always significant in the NBA Draft. It is the end of that draft lottery where the San Antonio Spurs find themselves yet again for a second time tonight. The Brooklyn Nets have 5 picks. They've already used one at 8th overall on Yegor Dimon out of BYU. They still have 4 more remaining, 19, 22, 26, 27. 5 other teams with multiple picks here on night number 1 at least entering. And before the night, San Antonio was the only one to have multiple lottery picks. New Orleans trading back in at 13 and selecting Derek Queen changed things around. In the pick is now officially in to end out the 2025 draft lottery at 14th overall. The Spurs' second selection of the night is Arizona's Carter Bryant. JY, a similar theme here for this San Antonio side. A ton of young and promising talent, and Bryant will join this 2025 draft class alongside the number 2 overall selection, Dylan Harper. What do you make of the move? Do you like the pick for the Spurs here at 14th overall?
I'm just happy it wasn't a guard because myself and probably K-Dub would have lost our ever-loving mind. But Carter Bryant, athletic, bouncy, shot blocker, and now I'm like, ooh, him and Wembanyama, good luck, getting to the basket with those 2 guys. So frequency, athletic, offensive game will grow. It kind of makes you think about, do they have a year when he comes off the bench, bring him along slowly, try to use your player development bend to develop his offensive game a little bit better, and then probably then try to move Keldon Johnson, who should have value in the open market if someone wants to trade him. But as long as it's not a guard, they addressed it already in the draft. Now they're going to the front court and giving themselves a little bit more depth.
So, Kev, Tom Carter Bryant out of Arizona at times this week, flirting around even money to be a top 10 pick. From the odds perspective, he doesn't go in the top 10, but does end out the lottery. What did the odds tell us about where Carter Bryant might fall tonight?
That the Spurs got a lot of value here at 14. This was a player who many were projecting to be a top 10 selection. Some thought that if the Suns were going to look towards the wing, you absolutely could see Carter Bryant be their man. And just to Coach's point quickly about the logjam at guard, I think both Jace Richardson and Kasparas Giacochonis are players I'm more interested in the draft. But Carter Bryant is absolutely the right pick over those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Due to what is on the San Antonio roster, Carter Bryant is a player, Tom, no Rookie of the Year juice, but I could see being a starter on this basketball team by next season.
Pure 3-and-D guy. We talked about this pre-show that he is not going to be on flashy highlights, but when NBA GMs look at him and look at his frame, they're like, we would love to have this guy or a similar type. And when you have the offense around him, as coaches alluding to, he's just going to play his role. The offensive game will happen. It'll take some time. But if you play defense with the scoring around him, it makes them into a well-rounded team, and that's what you need. He's not going to be an exciting, like, oh, I want to bet props on this guy on a night-in and night-out basis. But he's a key component to a team that is looking to take a step forward.
Yeah, I think that is really well said. It also, by the way, it does end our lottery. So it kind of gives you an idea that we maybe are entering a different range of this draft. I'll just throw out someone like Johan Berenger, one of the international prospects I saw was getting a lot of buzz. Hey, is this kid going to crack into the lottery? That does not happen.
Sorber.
Yakachonis falls out. Sorber's draft position prop was 16.5, so still some life for those who bet it. But you do have a couple of players, Tom, that absolutely, through the odds, qualify as fallers.
It really... Demon, really shook things up. And that's interesting. So to see where the mid picks coming up of Nick Clifford, he's going to be taken sometime soon.
In the next 10 picks?
Yeah, but not immediately. I'm saying him, Danny Wolf, and then, Berenger. I mean, these are the players we need to keep an eye on. And obviously your pre-draft positions are in flux right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they round out this top 20. But again, Ben, we are now buttoning up the lottery portion of the 25 NBA draft.
Yeah, Kev, I think what you mentioned there, a couple of names that have fallen out of the lottery that were certainly lottery consideration. Thomas Sorber from Georgetown and my guy, Kasparas Yakachonis from Illinois. Early in his first season with the Illini, certainly thought of as a top 5, top 10 pick, now will be outside the lottery. So the first 14 picks of the 2025 NBA draft now in the books. Wait, who's picking 15th overall? What? The the team that just won 84 total games, including the first NBA championship in the history of their 17 years in Oklahoma City, that just celebrated a parade yesterday? You're telling me the Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA champs, are picking 15th overall? Man, a bounty of riches for Sam Presti and the Thunder, JY. So what do you expect Oklahoma City to do here with the 15th pick?
They could really take a swing on someone. Got to remember also Nikola Topic there, who they got last year, missed the year, who was what I thought one of the 10 best players in the draft last year, didn't even play. So he's going to have his rookie year. So I almost add him to like their rookie draft class for this year. But Sam Presti, two first-round picks that Oklahoma City has.
24 tonight as well.
Yep. So you could take a swing, and for them, it's best available with the highest upside because their entire team returns. They're young. No one's getting moved. This is where Sam Presti is probably more dangerous than most because he may reach for a guy, but he really doesn't care because he's got the championship, he's got the young team, and he can take a chance on a kid now.
Kev, Tom, quickly back to you. What would you like to see OKC do in this spot?
Can we go in a time machine and trade up? It's just a team that realistically I think should have been willing to lose a deal to select somewhere inside that top 9, 8 range if possible. A team that Thomas Sorber comes to mind because Hartenstein will eventually be off this team.
I think that's the play to make. Like, the rich just get richer. And they, again, as coach's point, like, you can take a swing. And if you're wrong, again, not the worst deal. But I think Sorber does fit them. Hartenstein won't be there forever.
Yeah, that, again, just the financials of it. If they do draft Jace Richardson, Sam Presti, little handshake, sir.
Plus 125, not a price on a prospect to go to OKC. The Thunder's number to win the West next year. More on SportsGrid Draft Special next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You win a Larry O'Brien trophy on Sunday night for your franchise's first championship in your new home of Oklahoma City of 17 years. And then a few nights later, right after the draft lottery, you select 15th overall. The rich get richer and can add to a very talented team in Oklahoma City. The pick is in at 15th overall. Our reigning NBA champs and the short favorites to go back-to-back next season. The Thunder have selected out of Georgetown Thomas Sorber. You see the numbers on your screen. Averaged 14.5 points per game, 8.5 boards per game in this season under Ed Cooley with the Hoyas. And Kevin, Tom, I know Sorber was a prospect that you guys had identified early on that you were intrigued by where he might fall here in night number 1 of the NBA draft. How do you like Thomas Sorber's landing spot playing with the reigning NBA champs?
Eyes for me, and a player who does cash the under on his draft position, Tom, at 16.5.
Yeah, barely cashing in. And I think it's a great spot. The depth that he brings, you can never have enough depth, especially, but him playing a different role compared to what Chet plays, I think is going to be interesting. And how they eventually weave it in between him, Chet, and Hartenstein is going to be interesting. And I'm wondering how he gets involved in the non-Chet minutes. Are they going to look to feed him the ball? Are they just going to say, hey, we just want you out there? Like,
Yeah.
what will his role actually be?
What I would say with Oklahoma City, though, is last year a lottery selection in Nikola Topic didn't play due to injury. They didn't need him to play. Now, I don't think Sorber is projected to need to miss a year, but he didn't finish his season at Georgetown due to a foot injury. And with a big man, you would never want to rush him back. I'm not saying Sorber won't play this season. This is not a guy who's going to be heavily used, though, for OKC this year. We're halfway through round number 1, Tom. When we look back at the early portions of this draft, maybe that top 5, is there one pick you find yourself still thinking about?
It's got to be Ace Bailey. It really does, because I'm still convinced that the Jazz are going to trade Lauri Markkanen and or John Collins at some point. Maybe not this summer, maybe throughout the year. Obviously, Colin Sexton is still there, but the scoring upside from him is immense. The volume is immense. He doesn't seem thrilled to be there. We know that wasn't one of his preferred destinations.
You know, I saw a report, though, sorry, Tom. I saw a report from someone who said he actually held a private workout.
Really?
With Utah.
Okay.
Now, that didn't come from a Shams level style,
fair.
but it also didn't come from, X-Beat Draft 1-2 either.
Also fair.
I don't think Ace Bailey's putting a trade request in tomorrow.
Absolutely. But I'm saying is the theoretical upside from him, I'm not going to say he's unlimited, but when you look at a player that wants to take shots, there is a pathway forward to him taking 25 shots a night in his offense, because they are missing a true star player since they traded Donovan Mitchell. Like, Colin Sexton is good, Lauri Markkanen is good, but those are pieces other teams that are ready to take a step forward could use, and this can be his team.
The reality of the teams that were drafting before Utah have a foundational piece in their building.
Yes.
Whether it's Wembanyama, and they're not all the same level, right? LaMelo, Embiid, Anthony Davis. Utah does not have that.
Yeah.
Is Ace Bailey going to be that? Time will tell, but they have the ability to invest, and I'll make a comparison I think people will understand. Anthony Simons traded to Boston, and a lot of us are like, interesting. They don't have a lot of guys that we ask, what are they doing on defense? Is that a good shot? But maybe they'll get the best out of them. And Ace Bailey now plays for the G League Celtics, basically, with Will Hardy and Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge, because that's what they're trying to recreate over in Utah. So, Ben and Coach, I think for Ace Bailey, maybe if he doesn't feel this way, I feel he ended up in an incredible spot with the Jazz.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation that you guys are alluding to, Kev, because it was reported by Jonathan Givony of ESPN that just a couple of days ago, Ace Bailey declined a workout in Salt Lake, and Danny Ainge said, yeah, you bet, brother, you're still making your way to this Jazz franchise. He was, of course, a minus 250 favorite to be a top 5 pick, JY. We just did not think to the Utah Jazz. We'll get plenty more of your thoughts on what we have seen so far in the opening half of the opening round on night number 1 of the 2025 NBA draft as we roll on. The lottery is done, but there is still plenty more to come throughout the final 15 picks, including 16th overall, where the Blazers traded with the Grizzlies, and Portland is now on the clock. Our third full hour of our Sports Grid draft special comes your way on the other side of the break. Plenty more from the NBA draft in Brooklyn next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.